Meatball loved his routine. Wake up at noon, light a cigarette, cough up a lung. It was poetry. After his morning smoke, well, it was noon, so it counted. He'd stumble to the fridge. Usually there was leftover pizza or a half-eaten burrito. Today it was a jar of pickles and a can of Nuka-Cola. Close enough. With his breakfast of champions secured, Meatball lumbered to his computer. Fallout 76 awaited. He spent the next few hours blasting mutants and collecting bottle caps. It was a tough job, but someone had to do it. By evening, Meatball was ready to unwind. He plopped down on the couch, grabbed the remote and flipped through the channels. Nothing but reality TV and infomercials. He sighed. Just another day in paradise. If Meatball was chaos, Chipper was the calm. She was his girlfriend, his partner in crime, and the only person who could tolerate his nonsense for more than 5 minutes straight. Chipper was a free spirit, always drawing in her sketchbook or writing poetry. She thought Meatball was a lovable mess. He thought she was way too good for him. They were both right. Despite their differences, they just clicked. Maybe it was their shared love for bad horror movies, or their ability to quote The Simpsons for hours on end. Whatever it was, they were two peas in a pod, a weird, mismatched pod that somehow worked. Things started getting strange, but in a subtle way, like when your socks don't quite match, but you wear them anyway. The news kept reporting on weird stuff, politicians speaking in gibberish, squirrels attacking mailmen, that kind of thing. Meatball just shrugged it off. People were crazy. What else was new? But then the internet went haywire. Memes were morphing, websites were glitching, and his favorite Twitch streamer suddenly started speaking in Klingon. Even Fallout 76 was acting up, with Deathclaws doing the Macarena and his Pip-Boy showing nothing but static. This wasn't just weird, it was messing with his routine. Meatball started to feel a prickle on the back of his neck, like someone was watching him. He brushed it off, telling himself it was just the pizza giving him heartburn, but deep down a tiny part of him wondered if something was seriously wrong. Section 4, Digital Doppelganger Meatball meets Meatball online. One night, while scrolling through the endless abyss of the internet, Meatball stumbled upon something that made his blood run cold. It was a picture of him. Well, not exactly him, but a creepy, distorted version. This Meatball had glowing red eyes, a wicked grin, and a third nipple, which, to be fair, Meatball always thought would be kind of cool. He tried to laugh it off, but the image clung to him like a bad smell. He showed it to Chipper, who squinted at the screen and said, "Huh, that's weird, but hey, at least you'd look good with a tan." He wasn't sure if she was being serious or just trying to make him feel better. That's when the news report flashed on the TV. Global panic as internet users report seeing doppelgangers of themselves online. Experts baffled, cats remain unimpressed. Meatball's jaw dropped. This wasn't just some internet hoax, this was real and it was freaking him out. Section 5, Global Glitch. TikTok implodes, people go bonkers. The world descended into chaos. People were acting stranger than usual, and that's saying something. Politicians were challenging each other to dance battles instead of debates. Cats and dogs were forming uneasy alliances. And worst of all, TikTok was banned worldwide. It was absolute mayhem. Meatball sat in his stained sweatpants, glued to the news, a bag of chips clutched in his hand. The reporter, with wide eyes and helmet hair, announced, "The chaos continues. Scientists are baffled. Hair gel is officially sold out." Meatball sighed. This was officially a disaster. Even Chipper, who was usually the voice of reason, was starting to freak out. She kept pacing around their apartment, muttering about parallel universes and the impending apocalypse. Meatball tried to calm her down, but truthfully, he was just as scared as she was. Section 6, Meatball's denial. It's all just a coincidence, right? Meatball, being Meatball, tried to ignore the whole end of the world thing. He figured it was just a bad dream, or maybe he ate some questionable chili. He tried to distract himself with video games, junk food, and reruns of the Golden Girls, but the chaos was impossible to ignore. It's all a coincidence, he mumbled through a mouthful of chips. Just a big, weird coincidence. But deep down, he knew it was more than that. That creepy image of himself, the global panic, the ban on TikTok. Seriously, who bans TikTok? It was all connected somehow, and he had a sinking feeling he was at the center of it all. Chipper, bless her soul, tried to reason with him. "Meatball, this is serious. We need to figure out what's going on." But Meatball just shook his head and muttered something about needing more snacks. He wasn't ready to face reality just yet. Denial was like his favorite pair of sweatpants, comfy, familiar, and slightly smelly. Section 7, From the Shadows, evil Meatball clone makes his move. Just when Meatball thought things couldn't get any weirder, they did. He was in the middle of a particularly intense Fallout 76 raid when the TV flickered. The lights went out, and a figure materialized in his living room. It was him, the creepy Meatball from the internet, the one with the red eyes and the extra nipple. "Well, this is awkward," Evil Meatball clone said, cracking a sinister smile. "We need to talk." Meatball just stared, mouth agape, a half-eaten Cheeto dangling from his beard. He couldn't believe it. His digital doppelganger was standing in his living room, and he looked even more menacing in person. "You see, Meatball," the clone continued, his voice dripping with malice, "I'm here to take over the world." He paused for dramatic effect. "And steal your favorite sweatpants." Meatball choked on his Cheeto. This was it. The moment he was destined for, or maybe this was just a really bad acid trip. Either way, he had a feeling things were about to get messy.